Man, if he was 18, I think he's more like 17 or 16. Really young guy. He had a mask on, had a hood on, but I looked in his eyes. That kid, he was a young kid, and he was ready to take my life.
Everybody, can you believe it? I'm still here. That's right, 100 days from November the 20th till February 28th. My name is Pastor Corey Brooks, and I'm living in this tent right behind me on this rooftop on this block called O Block. It's named O Block after a young man named O.D. Perry who was shot and killed. The gang picked up his name and the letter O and started calling it an O Block. We decided we're going to keep the O, but we're going to turn it into Opportunity Block. I'm really thankful tonight to have with me a brother who everybody in Chicago knows, and the world is getting to know him. He's an actor, he's a comedian, he's into entertainment, and his name is Leonard Williams. And we're here tonight to talk about something that happened to him recently. He was carjacked, and for those of you who are not aware, carjacking has been a major thing that we're having to deal with in our city with our young people. So we want to dig into that just a little bit today and talk about what we can do for these kids, how important it is for us to get involved in their lives. And so I'm just going to jump in, and Leonard, thanks, man, for coming tonight.
Oh, no worries.
I know you affectionately, everybody calls you L.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for being on here with us to talk about our Rooftop Revelations. Man, what happened? I heard the story about you being carjacked, and I was like, what? L got carjacked?
Yeah.
So tell us what happened.
We had us a good night. Night started off good. Like a lot of people who have tragic things happen to them. The day starts off good. You never think that it's going to end up the way it ended up. And we were at a private screening for a movie premiere with Dion Cole. Shout out to Dion Cole.
Shout out to Dion Cole.
Just hanging out with good friends in the entertainment industry. Family. Yeah. People become family after so long.
Absolutely.
20 years in. Leon Rogers, and his wife Nicole. And so we were hanging out. We left from the movie theater, went to another venue on the south side to hang out with Just Niche, who's another up-and-coming, ridiculously talented comedian. And as I'm leaving there, I realized my gas pump is low. My gas hand is low. Mind you, it's late, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm doing everything I know not to do, right? You get gas early. You get gas,
Absolutely.
Start your day off.
Especially in Chicago.
And in my mind, I'm saying, okay, I can make it home on this gas. Couldn't make it home on that gas. So I drive past my usual gas station that I normally go to if I do have to gas a place.
Right.
Drive past that, mistake number 2, go to a gas station. It looks like it's safe right off the expressway. Big truck stop. In Gary, Indiana, and I go in to pay for my gas, grab some snacks, come back out, and I notice first the pump was moving really slow.
Right.
So in my mind, being from Chicago, this is how people get carjacked. Let me go sit in the car. I'm gonna sit in the car and wait. As I'm going to get back in the car, I notice that the car at the pump next to me, black tinted out Nissan, newer model. It's just sitting there.
Right.
And I say to myself, nah, that's not how that's going to happen. And I really heard God say, yeah, just breathe. 3 words, yeah, just breathe. At which point, the car hits the gas, cuts off any movement I could have had if I would have gotten in my car, stops in front of my car. The young guy comes out the passenger side with the gun drawn, straight to my face. But by the time he got out the car, I already had my hands up because remember I heard God say, yeah, that's happening. Breathe. So I already had my hands up. He asked me to unlock my phone. So I unlocked the phone, and I dropped my key fob, and I say, it's yours. I turned around and walked off.
You know what? Unlock your phone. What's that about? I mean, why would a brother carjacking their car? I know why, but I want them to understand. Why unlock your phone?
These kids are well versed in their checklist and what they're doing. They're kids, but they know what they're doing. I'm gonna say this. Some of y'all might be mad, but this is the generation that grew up playing Grand Theft Auto. They're really playing Grand Theft Auto in real life. And so he knew to take my phone so he could turn it off. And that way I couldn't use, I couldn't find it. I couldn't track it. And I couldn't call the police right away. It gave him enough time to get to the expressway, get gone. And it's been off. He hasn't turned it back on.
Man, let me ask you this. How old do you think he was? And the reason why I asked that is because we got a lot of young kids. You know, we had a case where a 10 and an 11-year-old carjacked somebody here recently. And so how old do you think these kids were, and what do you think is going on with all of this?
Man, if he was 18, I think he's more like 17 or 16. Really young guy. He had a mask on, had a hood on, but I looked in his eyes, that kid, he was a young kid. And he was ready to take my life. I saw that in his eyes too.
Yeah.
But they have a checklist. They know what they're doing. And, they're going to take your phone. They're going to take your vehicle. They're going to move around. And a lot of the times, back in the 90s, there was a market for vehicles, and they were selling these vehicles, chopping them down, sending the parts overseas. These kids ain't getting no money. They joyriding, or they doing hits in your vehicle.
Yeah.
They take your vehicle and go to somebody else's block.
Y'all, that's just how it is sometimes. We in the hood, so sometimes people give us a shout out. Love y'all too.
Love it, man.
Sorry.
No worries, man. That's a blessing. I'm glad to hear love, because I ain't want to have to pull my gun out. So look. Wait a minute. He said love. All right, cool. Relax. Something like that happens to you, it makes you, it heightens your awareness.
Yeah.
And I've always moved with a heightened awareness anyway. So that's why I knew what was happening while it was happening. But I was in it at that point.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this. Before we close this part, what can we do to help these young brothers, man? Because at the end of the day, it's brothers like me and you, I believe, got to get involved in these young brothers' lives. A lot of them are missing their fathers.
Yeah.
They come from single-parent households. And I'm not making any excuses. I'm just giving the facts. And I think it's important, especially for brothers like ourselves, and you've been an entertainer, a comedian, an actor.
Mm-hmm.
It's important for brothers like you to get back involved in the community. Can you just talk about that for a second? And
I'm gonna tell you something. This is why I don't hold no malice toward these kids, man. They shorties, right? And I'm glad I wasn't carrying at the time to fire upon them. I don't want to take nobody baby out of here. What we can do, and what a lot of us are doing, because I've been involved in the community for a long time.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Warnita Taylor and Jamal Smalls. I used to work for a foundation called Dime Child, and I taught after school at Team Inglewood before it was Urban Prep. We just got to keep showing love and keep being an example. These kids, they're raising themselves, because the parents that are at home, they working really hard, and they're not home enough to raise these kids. These kids, a lot of these kids growing up with their grandparents who are way too old to deal with all this young energy and to correct certain things. They just let them do what they want to do a lot of times. So, for us as brothers, as men, as black men, just keep showing love and showing them there's a different way.
Absolutely.
I don't have to look at you as the enemy when I see you in the street. Absolutely. You don't have to look at me as the enemy. We need to do this in love. But correction is necessary. Tell these kids, hey, that ain't how you're supposed to do it.
That's right.
I thank God for all the old heads that cuffed me. I'm talking about from the streets to the pulpit.
Right.
They all pulled me to the side and said, that's not how you're supposed to do it. Let's do this differently.
Absolutely. Man, that's what it's really all about. I want to thank you for coming by tonight and sharing on our Rooftop Revelations.
Yes, sir.
It's always a blessing to have you come by. I know you're real busy, and I appreciate it. Listen, that's what it's all about. We got to get into the lives of these young people. We can stop the crime. We don't have to wait on government to do it for us. Mm-hmm. We got to take the initiative. We got to do the work. We got to do everything we can to show these kids that we affirm them, we accept them, give them the attention that they need, to pull them out of the lifestyle that they're in and give them an opportunity. That's why we're trying to build this community center. So, as I always say, thank y'all for tuning in to Rooftop Revelations. And until tomorrow, I'll see you then. Peace.